in an ancient granite quarry. The unfinished obelisk is on top over there, you can see it, which is the smooth part of the rock. There the people are standing on top of it there. And actually, if this obelisk was cut, it would have been the biggest obelisk that was cut in the ancient Egyptian times. It would have been over 120 feet height, and it would have weighed 1,168 tons, cut from one block of granite. Bearing in mind that the Lateran obelisk in Rome is a little bit smaller than this one. It's about 38 meters height. That's a little bit less than 120 feet and weighs 1,100 tons. Basically, what the Egyptians did to cut these obelisks, first of all, they had to choose the quarries close to the Nile River. And this one is very close to the Nile River. Imagine in the past, before all these buildings were built, when the River Nile used to flood, it used to cover all that area. So what they did at the beginning, before the flood season, they decided to separate which part of the rock bed, and that was by burning it by oil from the edges until the temperature of the rock reaches its maximum. Then they suddenly put cold water, suddenly dropping down the temperature of this hot rock so it cracks. Then from underneath, they separate the bottom part from the rock bed by making holes and fitting sycamore wooden logs inside, log rafters inside these holes, and they start pouring the water on these sycamore wooden log rafters. Why sycamore wood? Because sycamore wood is not of a very good quality. It's porous. It can absorb the water. Once it absorbs the water, it swells. So it becomes bigger than the holes where these wooden log rafters had been fitted in. So the rock again cracks from the bottom. By the use of diorite hammers or pieces of stone that they tie to a piece of wood like a flint, which are made from diorite stone, which is a harder kind of stone than granite, they start separating what had been still attached to the rock bed, and then they start smoothing this piece of stone until it takes the shape of the obelisk. They leave it to slide down, and then they tie it round rafts, wooden rafts, and wait until the time of the flood. Then, once the water of the flood reaches here, the raft starts floating on the water until it gets to the river, where it's tied to 2 or 3 vessels together. Of course, we had seen scenes in some temples showing the transportation of obelisks from the quarries all the way to the temples. Actually, we don't know to which period exactly this obelisk dates back to. But from the size, the style, we think that it might have belonged to the time of the New Kingdom, 18th dynasty, the time of Queen Hatshepsut. Because she was the very ambitious queen that wanted to make a gigantic obelisk to the god that she had claimed to be her father, the god Amun-Ra. Of course, this quarry, when the obelisk was cracked, they didn't only abandon the obelisk, but they had abandoned the whole quarry. And around here, we had discovered a number of these hammerheads that were made out of diorite stone. Diorite stone is a very hard kind of stone, even harder than granite itself. And they had been moved to one of the museums of Aswan.